Hello and welcome to the DM's Book Club, a weekly book club podcast where we talk about some Dungeons and Dragons and discuss how we might include them in our role-playing campaigns. Welcome back to this mini series of world building. My name is Fiona, I use she, her pronouns, and we are on the final session of making our little world for these prompts. Hope everyone is doing well. We're almost there, done. As a quick recap, we've done 12 prompts from the Ultimate RPG World Building deck by James D'Amato, and I just thought we settled on 15 prompts just to get a good range of stuff. But actually, in this particular box, I believe there's 75 different cards, and for the 5 categories, what was that? Was that 16 each? No. That wasn't 16, that was 14 cards each. No, 15 cards each. Yes, there you go, quick math there. So 15 cards each for each category, that is. And we've got categories of institutions, places, people, rumours, and history. And let's just dive straight into it. So for today, we have left in our little prompt pile, people, places, and institutions. Let's start with people. We'll see where we go from there. All right. So today, friends, we have a thief. Ooh. All right. And as always, these prompt cards, they're in 2 parts. We have the top one, which is like pick options, fill in the blanks. And then we have usually four questions afterwards that we have to answer. So it says, this person once stole blank and blank. They eventually plan to steal blank. We have the following 6 options. The plans for a royal vault, an artifact of the gods, enough of something to ruin a powerful foe, the heart of a young noble, an object that has already been replaced by a perfect forgery, and a component of a terrible weapon. Now, interestingly, in one of our previous sessions, we already made a punishment that was to do with forgeries and artwork, so maybe that I like that one a lot. I do like the heart of a young noble as well, and more of a metaphorical one rather than like they actually stole the heart. But I don't know, maybe we're doing some sort of Snow Queen business here, perhaps. This person once stole an object that has already been replaced by a perfect forgery. So enough for something to ruin a powerful foe and the heart. Yeah, okay, let's do that. So this person once stole an object that has already been replaced by a perfect forgery, and enough of something to ruin a powerful foe, and they eventually plan to steal the heart of a young noble. I think that's a really interesting one that I've not seen before, as a combination of stuff, so let's go for that. Let's talk about these questions then. What makes them take a liking to one of the PCs, this thief? Let me look back over this stuff. Is there anything here? That's a hard one, I think. Pulling on something that happened in one of my home games, there was an NPC who clearly was very focused, very driven to do bad things. And they let off steam by getting into this big tournament, which my character was a part of. And they were very badass, this NPC. And I just gave them a compliment, and it completely threw them because they were really focused on ready to fight, and they don't need to be distracted. So I think just somebody standing up to them, perhaps someone that's but in a way, it's not like I will stop you. It's just somebody unassuming, just friendly, I guess. I want to pull on that kind of vibe. Maybe someone just flirting with them. Maybe they bumped into each other in the alleyway and they dropped something and they were like, oh, careful, that sort of, oh, be careful, don't worry about it, all that sort of thing. So I think, maybe just the PC accidentally was just very charming and flirted with them, and the thief was bowled over by that, that weird confidence, especially if they're driven to do some, dark things like steal. And especially if they're already planning to steal the heart of another or win the affection of another, and it's suddenly what? Who is this person? How dare they flirt with me? Maybe that's what I'm thinking of. So maybe what makes them take a liking to one of the PCs is because the PC accidentally just was charming and flirted with them, and so they're intrigued by this. The next question, which dangerous figure are they involved with? Well, it has to be, I think it's just a figure. It's probably the Thieves Guild of some sort. Maybe it's the head of the Thieves Guild. Especially, maybe this person, this thief, is like the lead. I was going to say the lead violinist, the lead thief. Not like the leader, but like second in command or like the best member, as they've managed not to get taken in by the Rose Gallery. So I think that it's the Thieves Guild and the leader as their sort of like their best thief of the Thieves Guild. There's got to be something better than that, but that's what I'm thinking. Man, it just drives me back to there was like another home game that I was in. Not a home game, sorry, it was one of the RP Geeks D&D ones where I was playing a rogue who'd gone good but had left like a trail of like bad decisions where my character had just had lots of flirtatious relationships with various people, including the now head of the Thieves Guild, which is great. I love that sort of messiness about it. That was good fun. So yeah. When it says involved, presumably maybe it's a romantic thing as well. Man, I'm really obsessed with the romantic relationships recently. But yeah, I think that's probably what it is. They're sort of like fixated on these things, perhaps. God, yeah, it's just a messy rogue. That's what this person is, a messy rogue. But it's kind of like a selfish, like, they're in these relationships because the mixture of like, for their own gain, there is affection there, but also they're like, I can't, how do I end it? Shit, yeah, it was supposed to be fun, and it's been more serious. God damn it, that kind of vibe. So yeah, but the Thieves Guild leader is pretty badass, pretty hard. What talent do they have unrelated to theft? I want to say they play a musical instrument, but it's not the guitar. Or like something like a talent. Okay. I think my gut is musical instruments, but I want to scratch that for a second because I think that's a bit maybe too obvious. I bet they're very good at nail art. Something to do with their fingers, so they have to concentrate on. But I didn't want it to be knitting or crocheting because I find those things like tedious and dull. Sorry, those people out there who are probably listening to this and doing that. I think nail art. They make beautiful nails. Either make them for people to like put on, or they just paint their own nails or anyone else's nails. Maybe it's a service that they provide to the community, like a little self-care thing. But I think they do beautiful like nail art for different festivals. Like, maybe this makes no sense, right? Why would I have nail art? But I always find it really interesting. My Instagram feed is full of these incredible, beautiful nails. Like, completely, I have no idea how people operate with them in the usual day-to-day. But I just think they're so pretty and beautiful bits of art. And maybe that goes into the forgery stuff, perhaps, is that they are able to advise on how to create the perfect forgeries for bits of art that have been taken. Final question. Which ally of the PC is their friends, and which enemy of the PCs is their target? I'm not really keen on this last question. There's a lot of stuff about player characters, which I guess I understand if we were doing it together. And I guess you want to have people, you want to have a connection. But we've had a couple of things that are related to the PCs just now. For this particular one, I kind of wish there was like alternate, like maybe I'd wish there was like, here's some questions if you're doing it on your own, here's some questions if you're doing it with a group. I don't know, maybe I'm thinking about this too hard. All right, make it simple. It's one of the PC's like elders, maybe a grandmother or a grandfather who's had their nails done. Sod it. Like, oh, they're a nice person. Oh yes, look, and they're always looking glam. I think there's an elder who sees them helping out, so sees them for who they truly are and won't give them away. That could be quite fun. And then, which enemy of the PCs is their target? So stealing the heart of a young noble. Well, we did have something about a royal family, didn't we, at that performance? Maybe something at, what was it called? The Old Riding Boots Theatre. They're going to steal the heart of a young noble, presumably maybe the Prince Royal or something like that. Something, the affection on that sort of thing. Maybe an enemy of the PCs is actually like an advisor or a vizier of the royal family who cares not for them. Like it's like maybe the PCs have caused trouble, but maybe that's what it is. The vizier kind of stops the royal family interacting with the community of some sorts, and so whilst the aim of the thief is to get to this young noble, maybe the royal prince of the family, their sort of target for various things. I guess one of the targets for them would be this vizier, this advisor person. Yeah, I think that would work. All right. Is there anything else we could do to connect? Because we have this schema, this Cyrodiil character that we got. It's not the same person. I want it to be a different person. But maybe one thing I did say in the side character quest that I was in, that Cyrodiil was a part of a family. So maybe one of Cyr's siblings is the advisor, the eldest, an older sibling. Like I'm thinking, like like the Weasley family has Percy being a prefect, but then you also have Bill and the other one, Charlie, being bigger people as well. So maybe it's one of their older siblings is this royal advisor. There you go. I can't think of a good name for them, but it'll be one of the Dust Stones, essentially. All right, let's recap. So we have this thief, who I've put in brackets a messy rogue in relationships, perhaps. And what they've done, they've already stolen an object that's already been replaced by a perfect forgery, and enough of something to ruin a powerful foe. Presumably this powerful foe is the Dust Stone advisor. Their current aim, they're planning something big, which is to steal the heart of a young noble, who we designated as one of the royal family, who was sort of previously described in the performance entry related to the Old Riding Boots Theatre. Fine. What makes them like one of the PCs? I think there was like a sudden like kerfuffle, like down a back alley, as maybe the thief was running away with whatever they recently stole, and they bumped into a PC and dropped things, and the PC kind of flirted with them, saying, you dropped this, and you'll smile, or something horrific like that. And they're kind of on the back foot about it, and they're like, what? Like, and they're kind of like, I don't want to say low-key obsessed, that's what I mean, but it's like they're kind of curious about who this person is. They are involved a lot with the Thieves Guild, and in particular the leader of this particular branch, possibly in a relationship. Again, going along with that idea of a messy rogue-type individual. One of the big talents they have is that they are really into nail art, and they do beautiful designs on real nails and maybe fake nails as part of a self-care service, maybe to the elder members of the community, but also do like lots of art for festivals. So maybe that's their calling card, is that you always see like gorgeous nail art. I wish I was better at it. I wish I could afford to have it as well. Someone that's an ally of this person that the PCs know. We said it's one of the PCs like elders, so maybe a grandmother or grandfather who gets their nails done and maybe sees the good that's been done by this individual. And maybe they don't know they're a thief. Maybe they just see them as a goodwill person, so there's that. And then finally the target, an enemy of the PCs is their target. We've said for this royal advisor, which the PCs have had a run in a couple of times before on different missions perhaps. And we've kept it as they are someone who likes control and manipulation and controlling that power dynamic. And we said that they are one of Cyrodiil, one of the schema entries there from earlier. They're one of their older siblings. All right, so that's the people one done. We've got 2 more to go. Let's do places next. Oh, this is interesting. We've got a slightly longer fill in the blanks kind of, well, I say fill in the blanks, a kind of different kind of options one at the top for a place of worship. It says here, based on how this place was built, choose one of the following options. So we're going to go through all 6 options and pick. So, first things first, the church or congregation was poor or wealthy. The congregation did not want to be found or was well respected in society. The congregation was large or small. It had many community functions or was only used for services. It was built to accommodate a specific ritual or was expanded over time. It tells a story of triumph for a persecuted faith or an anticipated, how do you pronounce that word, hypotheses? apotheosis, or a tragic loss. Hang on, let me look at what that word... I've never heard of that word before. Apotheosis, so I was right. Interesting, but what is it? The highest point in development of something, culmination or climax, according to Oxford Languages. An anticipated apotheosis. Wikipedia also says the divinization or the... Oh, God, I can't even pronounce that. Wikipedia says the glorification of a subject to divine levels, or commonly a treatment of a human being, any other living being, or an abstract idea in the likeness of a deity. Oh gosh, I don't know if I can think of anything for that. We won't use that one. All right, well let's start from the top. I think the congregation was poor. It did not want to be found. I think it was also small. I think it was only used for services. I think it was built, this particular place was built for a specific ritual, so built to accommodate a specific ritual. And then that final one with three choices, I'm going to say a tragic loss. It tells the story of a tragic loss. So it's a very small group here. Here's my thinking. It's about the loss of ideas. What I mean by that is that when you have an idea and you bring it to a group or you talk about it, often what happens, the beauty of teamwork or working or collaboration, is your ideas get changed. There's a thing in improv where each scene realistically is 1,000 tiny little deaths, 1,000 tiny little funerals for your ideas, because you come to a scene and it will be changed because someone else interacts with it. Maybe it feels very Terry Pratchett, this. Maybe it's to mourn the loss of originality and creativity and your ideas. Maybe that's too pretentious, I don't know. That's what I'm thinking going into this, is the tragic loss is like, it's like no idea is original anymore. And so we mourn that loss, perhaps. We'll see what the questions say. What are some details about how the space is decorated? Are there any candles, stained glass, statues, or symbols of interest? Hang on, what are some details about how this place is decorated? That's a really weird question, right? That's phrased weirdly. I would probably say, give some details about how the space is decorated. That's what you should say, not like, what are some details about how the space is decorated? I think it has to be, it's because they're having to be questions. I think for ease, we'll do that. Well, there are candles. I think there's some stained glass as well, but it's quite a small space. Like, I think it's literally a shed that's big enough for 5 people. That's what I have in my head. Like, it's like these places, these shrines, they're small and well preserved, but when you go in, there's lots of little candles, like little tea lights, and there's like a little bits of stained glass, but not like a traditional stained glass window with like a big picture, but like throughout, like little tiny bits. Like it's small. Everything's teeny tiny. Maybe there's just like one pew that everyone sits on as we look at this, like this at the front of the shed, whereby there's just like a whole row of candles, and like the candles will shine as we see the shadows on the wall, perhaps. How is the deity's domain honoured in the decor? Oh yeah, I forgot, maybe it has to be religious. There's something about the little things. Looking after the little things, being aware of the little things, that moment of like deciding something. The deep breath, the first step. Maybe that's what it is. How is it? Let's think about this god. Let's think of honoured in domain. Actually, scratch all that. I've said the first step. Maybe it's the god of journeys. Maybe it's the god of travel. And how that doesn't necessarily mean a physical, like long journey, but maybe it's a journey of self-discovery. Maybe it's a self-improvement and making you better. So how about this? Those little bits of stained glass, I'm thinking, like, I can imagine that they're decorated all around this shed. Like they almost impacted into the wood so you can see out. But I think it all sort of congregates to the front of this. No, it all comes from the roof. There you go, the roof. And it's almost like a skylight comes in, but it's just like a beautiful mosaic. You can see the light coming in, or the rain dropping down, and it's just full of so many colours, almost like imagine the Starry Sky artwork by Vincent van Gogh. It's that kind of vibrancy, like lots and lots of different colours. And it spreads out. Maybe it's only like a foot or so wide, but then all the bits sort of come, and it looks like it's burst. Like the artwork is spreading throughout this space. And it's to indicate that all these little bits, these little tiny pieces, make up a bigger picture. And so no matter what you do, whatever little act you do will contribute to the whole. And I think that's what I'm trying to say, right? Is that the domain, this God's domain of journeys, everyone is on a journey. Everything is a journey, realistically, as pretentious as that sounds. But it's all about the detail. It's not about the bigger picture, ultimately. It's all the little pieces. What implements of a ritual does this place house? We've got candles already. Ritual. Maybe, I'm just trying to think. What do we have? We have, I think maybe there's like some robes that are under a floorboard that people can wear. Maybe there's a book, like a little ritual book. Or maybe there's like a tiny little shelf with little teeny tiny books on it. Like, I'm always thinking that teeny tiny handwriting that the Bronte sisters did. So we've got robes, we've got little books. I also want to say there's a plate of biscuits. That's the thing I'm thinking of, because obviously there's usually wafer biscuits. But I think there's just maybe outside of the shed there is like a little honesty box or trunk, and people can donate food for the community, and then at the end of every month, if there's anything that's been left over, they will use that as a way of saying thanks for the God to looking after, give us strength. So I think there's like an honesty food box outside. It's like full of sandwiches just now. What things are stored here only to be used on specific holidays? Gosh. First thought, best thought, masks. There's maybe like different kinds of masks. Oh, okay. This could be quite creepy. What if it's you every fortnight on the holy day, people come and they make these masks of the person they once were. And therefore they would wear it in the ritual or various rituals. And then when it happens, they take it off and they have become the new person now. So it's almost grieving the loss of the old person. And as a result, there are just tons of these masks that are maybe, and again, maybe they're under the floorboards, maybe they're put somewhere, maybe there's another shed, maybe slightly bigger than I'm thinking. But like, I just imagine you can follow somebody's growth physically, but also maybe as an emotional journey throughout their time as part of this congregation to show that they've changed as a person. Maybe that's what the tragic loss is that we're mourning the loss of the person we used to be, but also grateful because we're now on this journey and we are becoming a better person, and that we change every 6 months. And the God of journeys, the God of self-improvement, like all these sort of things, thanks the person that you weren't before. And whilst it's a sad thing that we've lost this person, we're grateful for the new person to come. Does that make sense? I do think the wall full of like terrible masks, various different artwork is terrifying. But yeah, they made us a specific holiday that we go through every single mask of over the, what it would be, like 27 different masks over the year. And then at the end of the year, they will, you will go for it. Maybe you burn them or maybe you put them somewhere. I don't know. Terrifying. All right, we're back. It might not sound like it, or it might sound like it, but it's been like a whole month since I last recorded. I ran out of time before I had to leave and do stuff for Christmas. So this is a very last minute, final day prompt. The final prompt for our Ultimate RPG Worldbuilding deck. It's institutions. Let's go. Okay. A prison. Choose 2 known truths about this prison. And then, of course, we've got the 4 questions as well. So the two new truths are: no prisoner has ever left. They use inmates for experiments. Its location is extreme. Dangers are allowed to roam within. Anyone here is especially dangerous, and its location deters escape. Oh, that's interesting. Its location deters escape, and we've got the location is extreme. So instantly that makes me think of, it's on a mountain, or it's underwater. But what if it's like really like nice? Like it's like a hotel or something, or like on the beach. I'm just going to go back through my world building prompts and just refamiliarize myself with them. Because obviously the Rose Gallery was that kind of prison as well. Use inmates for experiments that's always weirdly appealing to me. But we won't do that one, I don't think. Let's go for no prisoner has ever left, and its location deters escape, because I think those are quite a cool two sort of like conditions put together, So let's write those ones down. Yeah, I don't know what it is. Its location deters escape. Again, I think it's supposed to be like, it's horrible, it's nasty. There's like guard dogs, it's well secure. Like I said, it's either up a mountain in a cliff face or like low down. But in my head, it feels like a Jet 2 holiday, Come and take a Jet 2 holiday, is that kind of right now you can save up to £200 on a family of 4, You know what? Why don't we make it that? It's a holiday destination sort of thing. Like it's advertised like that. Maybe it's done by the same wizards that did the Rose Gallery. Maybe it's their new up-and-coming startup business idea. All right, let's do the questions. How is the warden beholden to corrupt forces? Beholden, I assume, because my brain is not fully functioning today, I assume beholden means like in the pocket of, or owing thanks or duty to someone in return for a help or service. Okay, so how is the warden? Like the go-to is like, they're corrupt through money, or they've got some blackmailing things on them. Maybe, let's go for blackmail. I was trying to think of like maybe like one of their children or their partner, the spouse is like in danger, so there's that. That's a bit dark, I think. These corrupt forces have blackmail materials on the warden. Maybe they used to be a criminal themselves, and they've been elevated to this place, but obviously if something goes wrong, they'll be withdrawn immediately. So yeah, I think blackmail. What kind of blackmail? Maybe they are responsible for many of the thefts that's happened, which has led to lots of innocent people being incarcerated in the Rose Gallery. And it's evidence that this is the person who's behind it all. And obviously, if they get caught and sent down, I think not only will they be imprisoned, not just as one artwork, but as many artworks. Like, I think they'll be like pulled apart, or they're changed daily into a different. There's a threat, the ongoing punishment of constantly being recreated as these artworks, as in with the Rose Gallery. So I think they are the person behind the majority of the arts heists in the last, say, decade or so. Or maybe I'm just thinking like Dorian Gray, maybe they are subscribed to certain services, a bit like The Substance. So maybe they are taking the substance to look a certain way, be a certain way, to fit in. Yeah, maybe there's something to do with that as well. So we've got blackmail. Well, let's tie it into the blackmail. They are the sort of the puppeteer behind many of the art heists, but they've gone into hiding and they're using some sort of concoction, some sort of alchemy to change their appearance, to look a certain way, basically like a polymorph juice of some sort, but it's ongoing and they're taking that. And maybe if something goes wrong, that supply disappears, and because they've been drinking the substance for so long, it's going to change their body. So they're now hooked on it. They're addicted to it, because if they don't have it, their body's going to just completely change. Okay, second question. Despite its reputation, what flaws does it have in its security? I think they are so bold in like, no one's going to leave here. Why would they? Is that they have like no check-in for people who come and visit. If you have like visitation days, I think if people come and see the quote-unquote criminals or villains that are in this prison, You don't need a background check or anything like that. They're like, yeah, come on in. Oh, you're going to be the sidekick or the lackey that's going to try and break them out. Yeah, go ahead. Go for it. Like, they are so confident, arrogant in the fact that this prison is great. Why would anyone want to leave? Because of its location. I also think maybe there isn't much in terms of people visiting and booking in to talk to the inmates, as it were. So yeah, anyone can come in and interview anyone. Like, it's fine. You don't need a background check. Maybe even you don't even need an appointment. It's that lax in terms of admin and security. Who are 3 most powerful groups within the prison? How do they seize power? Oh, God. Okay, first thought, best thought, it's like a school, right? So you've got the jocks, you've got the sort of nerds, you've got the it girls, right? Those are the 3 ones I can think of. So you've got jocks, the gym rats we'll call them. Then you have the popular people, the preppy people. I said it girls. I do think it's almost like a cliquey group of individuals who like to gossip. Then you have the nerds, the people who love their tech. Almost, I think here, tech bros. Yeah, it's slight nerds who then have a little bit of popularity. And I think they're all talking to each other. Maybe even it's a bit more like Silicon Valley or those startup like conferences. So they're probably making like little like, I think this is the thing, this place is like, the location is great because they've got access to everything they want. They've just been told they can't go and like do the bad things out there. Like, this is like a rich person's prison. That's what I'm thinking, right? The wealthy could be like, oh, well, I'll be transferred here to whatever it is. Yeah. So yeah, the nerds, they are just tech bros, or they're just sort of like making a lot of tech quietly in the corner. It's a weird thing, because in my head it's still a beach, right? It's a hotel on the beach, and you have like the jocks like playing volleyball or like working out. You have the preppy gossip people who are maybe like, I don't know, just like having a tan in the water. And then in the corner you've got these IT nerd-like folks who are just like, yeah, they're probably like building like kites or something. Like they're holding competitions, and like it's just a weird like 25 to 30 holiday Jet 2 style. That's what in my head it's envisioned of what it is. How did they seize power? Because that's an identity to belong to. Like, how about this? Maybe those are like, I know, very tropey school tropes there of different groups. Maybe it's actually activities. If we're going for this 25 to 30 holidays sort of vibe for the prison, maybe it is actually the volleyball team, the volleyball tournament. We then have like maybe arts and crafts. Maybe putting the nerds in there. Maybe we have the book club. Maybe that's what it is instead of those particular groups, perhaps. Let's do volleyball team, book club, and then arts and crafts. One more on top of that. Maybe this is a prison. I said wealthy people before, but maybe older wealthy people. Almost maybe like a retirement home near a beach somewhere. And everyone gets food. Like, I think that's what it is. And maybe there's that whole trope about like having people giving their medicine and tablets, and everything's okay for them. So why would they leave? So yeah, it's literally, this prison is a holiday destination retirement home for older criminals who have a little bit of wealth to them, which then would tie in to the idea that the warden looks super in control and stuff, but actually probably is lowest on the food chain if they're the ones that have been doing these art heists, and they don't want to be seen as they don't want to look old, maybe as well. Okay, it goes back to that Dorian Gray thing. So that kind of ties in there a little bit, I think. I didn't answer the question of how they seize power. I think it's just popularity. How many sign-ups you get per term, I think. And that's how they get power, is through sheer number of people joining. Final question. Who are the people most willing to help the PCs in this place? Well, it'd be wild to think if any of my PCs would get into this place. I mean, obviously the gut is either to say like the warden or one of the residents that's been there the longest, who actually maybe is the most evil, has done the most crime, and is planning something big. In my head, it's like a Morgan Freeman or Michael Caine kind of person. I did watch Now You See Me recently, so it's that kind of vibe. Maybe it is a magician of some sort. Like an old retired wizard. Yeah, let's do that. It's a resident. It's an old retired wizard who likes causing chaos and is happy to help people out and let them do their bidding. We'll call this wizard, we'll call them Vinny. Vinny the Wizard. I mean, I've just written down Vinny the Wizard, retiree / crime boss. All right, let's go through this again. Gosh, what a weird ending to this one. We have a prison, and we've styled it to be like an older person holiday destination / retirement home, primarily for wealthy criminals. There's two truths: is that no one has ever escaped from here, mostly because its location and presumably the benefits that come with this retirement home, in quotation marks, deters any escapes. Because why would you want to escape a place that has everything you want? It's kind of advertised like a Jet2 holiday advert. I also think it is created or maintained by the same wizards who came up with the Rose Gallery punishment. How is the warden specifically beholden to the corrupt forces? So we've talked about a bit of blackmail with getting the art heists in the last decade. They were the ones behind it. And as a result, they've drunk a lot of this. Well, it is polymorph. It's a polymorph potion of some sort, which changes their appearance, and they have to have it every single day at a certain time, just like all the other residents will have to have their medication as well. And they've been on this medication for so long that going off it will be disastrous. So the warden is beholden to these corrupt forces that maybe are within this prison, purely because if the supply of polymorph potion dries up, they will be discovered as this is the person behind all these things, and they will be punished by these wizards, the same wizards who did the Rogues Gallery, like changing it even into something even worse. I'm sure I could go into more detail about it at a later point. Despite its reputation, what are the flaws? Well, simply that anyone could come in and talk to an inmate. There's no need for a background check or even an appointment. It's all easy breezy because they're very arrogant in the fact that why would anyone want to leave here? It's a nice place to be, and let's keep all the evil people in one place. They're not going to do anything. Everything's caged for them. Why would they go? We then have 3 powerful groups in the prison. At first, I was like, oh, okay, there'll be like groups like the jocks, so these gym rats, the preppy group, some nerds. But actually, if it's a retirement home-inspired place, a holiday destination, we're thinking of those 25 to 30 holidays. Of course, there's activity groups. And I think the top ones are always going to be the volleyball team. You're going to have a book club that's not really a book club, it's just a gossiping club. And then some sort of arts and crafts, maybe friendship bracelets, or, you know, it changes depending on who is leading the class, but it's that kind of vibe where you sit down. And again, it's a painting class. That's what it could be. It's a wine and art class. There we go, arts and crafts. It's a wine and arts class. Perfect. And the reason they get power, it's purely through signups. The more people they have, the more power they're able to sway and influence things within this particular space. Presumably because they could vote in an AGM or something like that, as if prisons have AGMs. But yeah, it's purely through signups do they have this fluctuation of power. And then finally, who are the people? I've misread this. Who are the people who are most willing to help the PCs in this place? I've put it as a person. I've just said a wizard. Vinny, the retiree crime boss who lives here. I think Vinny and his people would help the PCs in this case, but they're not willing to lift a finger. They're just ready to give you like information and put people in contact with you. That's about as much as Vinny would do, I think. I appreciate Vinny or Vincent is could be linked to like a crime boss type thing anyway. There's the tropes of that, but oh well. So there we have it. That is all 15 prompts for the Ultimate RPG world building deck. We've got it. We've made it. Yeah, overall, I think we've done a pretty decent job considering it's just me doing this. Like I said throughout, I would have liked to have like just more. If you're one person doing it, here are the questions for it. But you know what? We've done our best, I think. And considering, with a lot of stuff off the cuff, I think there's stuff I could come back and work on again. Yeah. Good job. Good job, me. Big pat on the back. And that's it for this little series. I'm sure we'll be back. I'm sure I can get Hamilton in. It's probably easier to bounce off for 2 people. Thank you so much for listening. As always, go check out all our cool things we've got going on. They're all in the show notes, all the links to it. We'll be back for another episode of the DM's Book Club next time. But until then, I'll see you on the flip side. Bye.